We have been programmed to work 9 to 5. We have been led to believe that our jobs provide us with security and that they are essential for our survival. But this is not true. I haven't worked full time since 2015, and my older brother left his 9 to 5 even before I did. And we are doing fine. We don't come from a wealthy family, but we still survive financially. Let me ask you this question. Have you ever wondered who invented the 9 to 5 work routine? And why are people so programmed to working 9 to 5? Years ago, in 2009, I told my parents that I disliked my auditing job. It made me feel depressed. I wanted to quit. And they were horrified by my decision. I was the first person ever in my family to quit their jobs, and they don't get it. They don't understand why someone will quit their stable job and give up a steady income. So they try to convince me to stay, saying things like, your job gives you health benefit, retirement funds, medical leave. You get to take 14 days off each year. 14 days off work to do the things you like, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, why do I only get 14 days to a year to do the things I like? But more importantly, both of my parents got retrenched by their companies. So when someone who's been laid off tell me that a 9 to 5 job gives me security and stability, it does not exactly sound convincing. Where did they get this idea that work equals security? Where did they get this belief from? They were so entrenched in this belief that despite being laid off, despite my mom not working ever again since her retrenchment, they still think that working 9 to 5 is essential. They still think that having a job is a form of security. And I was very puzzled. If you think about it, the 9 to 5 work schedule only became popular in the early 20th century during the Industrial Revolution. At that time, they had world wars, economic depression, and political instability. People live in poverty and struggle to survive. So it's understandable that they act out of fear. Imagine living in fear, worry about how you will feed yourself and your family. Then someone come along and offer you a job and some money. Of course you're going to take it. It's either work or starvation. When we are in a fearful state, a lower state of vibration, we will follow whatever other people tell us to do. We will follow the convention system. But now we are living in the 21st century. Things are rather different. Our collective consciousness has grown. We are no longer living in that fearful and unstable environment. We are no longer in the industry revolution. We are in the information age now. We are doing less physical work and more mental and cognitive work. The old 9 to 5 system has become rather obsolete. It doesn't make sense anymore. You don't have to be at a workplace to operate the machines or be in the assembly line to create the products. It doesn't apply to the kind of work we are doing right now. And during the COVID period, when people are working at home, it has already proven that working remotely and flexible hour is possible. Also, COVID already gives us a glimpse of what is truly essential and what industry or jobs can be somewhat forsaken. During the shutdown period, some jobs aren't as essential, but yet we still see our job as a form of security. Even way back in 2010 or 2011, when I was working in my second job as an accountant, I noticed that some of my colleagues from the other department got laid off. And at the time, I was thinking to myself, when will my company start laying off people in my department? I wasn't being pessimistic, I was just curious. And after I left my accounting job and went back a few times to help them out as a part timer, I realized they have shifted some of their accounting function to India. And again, I was like, interesting. I see a shift coming. I sense something is going to change. And surely enough, many of my colleagues and friends from the accounting department who have worked for more than 10 to 20 years in the same company were laid off last year. I never see work as a form of security. Maybe because of my accounting background, I always knew that for a business to survive and exist in the first place, it, need, it needs continuous profit. No one creates a business just to make losses. It's not sustainable in the long run. And when profit is low, company either increase their revenue and make more sales or cut down their expenses. And one of the main expenses they could cut is staff costs. So how can a 9 to 5 job be deemed as security? More importantly, as technology develops and we are approaching this AI age, 9 to 5 work is becoming increasingly redundant. If it's cheaper and more efficient to use AI and robotics, why will companies continue to hire people? I hear people sometimes say that AI is stealing our jobs, but the thing is, businesses are not created to give us a job in the first place. They are not created to feed us, to give us money, or give us security. Company hire us in exchange for the value we give them. They don't own us anything. It has always been a value exchange. So AI isn't stealing our jobs. It's just becoming more valuable in the eyes of the company. So I always see myself as replaceable at work. One day, if I wasn't able to provide the companies the value that they need, I will be laid off. But seeing it this way actually makes me more adaptable and flexible. It means that as long as I'm valuable to someone, as long as I can provide value to someone, no matter where I go, whether I'm working in another 9 to 5, freelance, or doing my own thing, I will survive. I know I can always exchange my value and services for some money, food, and accommodation. Knowing your own value and what other people need is important. Tapping into this source of abundance within you, connecting with your intuition, and knowing when to shift. These are where your true security lies, not the 9 to 5 job that you have at work. The nature of our jobs will continue to shift as the world evolves and expands. There's no stopping this momentum. What you need to learn is to be adaptable. Even as a writer, I know I can't keep writing blog posts anymore. Information is now so readily accessible. Now with the I have to do something more than just imparting knowledge. I have to keep refining my own values. And every one of us is valuable in some ways. Even if you're not working, like my mom, who has been a housewife ever since she was retrenched, she's still very valuable. She managed the household so that we can do our own stuff. That is still considered a value. We just need to dig deeper and connect with our own values. When we are conditioned to believe that we need a 9 to 5, we need our jobs to survive, we lose sight of our own values. We are so dependent on companies and other people to define or tell us what our values are. We don't see our own values. We also limit ourselves and our creativity to think of other ways to earn a living and support ourselves. We are living in the fear-based vibration, like how people in the early 20th century used to live their life. Instead, how we want to live our life now is to live in the place of empowerment. And you know what's interesting? Before the Industrial Revolution, way before, people didn't work 9 to 5. Hunters and gatherers didn't work 9 to 5. They gathered the amount of food they needed for the community and they rested. Maybe they gather more before winter so that they could store some of the food for later. But it wasn't excessive. Food will go bad if kept for long. Now it's totally different. We work long hours and earn more than we need. Our salary doesn't just meet our basic needs. We save for rainy days many years ahead. We use our excess income to fuel our egoic desires, more experiences, more food, more stuff. And because of our egoic desires and the things we buy, it created jobs for other people. People working in the retail, F&B industry, etc. It fits the other industry. So in other words, if you're looking at the big picture, we are creating work for each other to do. You give me things to do, and I give you things to do. I work so hard so that I could buy the branded goods so that someone can have a job in the retail industry. It's like we're living in this cycle. Like I create a job for you and you create a job for me. But is what we do as work truly essential? Not really. Like in my neighborhood, we have construction all year round. Every few weeks they will come and tear things apart, like and build them up again. They will drill the roads and fill them up again. I really don't know what they're doing. There's actually nothing more to do. They are not building anything new. They're just doing things for the sake of doing things, creating jobs for people. But when something major like COVID comes and disrupt the system, these jobs that are non-essential or things we do to fill out our 9 to 5 work schedule, they are the first to go. And so how can we even consider our job as a form of security? Especially when we're creating jobs for the sake of creating jobs. In the past, during the hunting and gathering days, people only did what is necessary. That's it. Nowadays, we stress ourselves at work. We work long hours doing things that we don't really like, that are really essential in the first place, just to fit our egoic desire, just to have more experience, more stuff. But if you just take a step back and see the big picture, you will know that these things, that these ego desires are good to have, but they are not things that we need to have. They don't really affect our survival and security. If you think about it, you don't really need to work too much to survive and meet your basic needs. You don't need to work 9 to 5. You don't need to work in a job that you hate or pretend to work waiting for 5 p.m. to arrive or whatever time you're not off. You have a choice. If you're willing to give up some of your egoic desires, you're still able to survive with less working hours. You can break out of this cycle, you can have freedom. Freedom doesn't come from working more and hoping one day you have enough money for retirement, because you will never have enough. People who are unconscious about their spending habits tend to spend more when they earn more, so they will never have enough and they will remain stuck in this system. But of course, I'm not here to tell you to quit your 9 to 5 job immediately or deny yourself from enjoying the pleasure in life. A job can actually provide many other things like social connection and friendship. It allows you to be a part of a group or something greater. When a group of people come together and work on the same purpose and mission, it can be really rewarding. And not everyone will be like me, who loves working alone independently and is self-directed. So I'm not asking you to quit immediately and suddenly like feel lost in life, like what am I going to do with the rest of my time? I'm just saying, be clear of what is truly essential and what is good to have. We tend to overestimate what we need to survive and don't question whether what we do is essential in the first place. We just continue doing the same old thing because it's a norm. Don't think you have to work or do things that you don't want to just to survive. You have a choice. If you are stuck in a job you really dislike or an environment that's not suitable for you, you can change. There are plenty of other ways to make a living. Don't stay just because you think that your job can provide you with some kind of false security. And if you enjoy your job, just continue. I've seen people who really enjoy what they do, they really care about what they do. Their vibration is totally different. The service they provide is marvelous. The product that they create is wonderful. And as long as you are tapping into your passion and purpose and not doing something out of fear and insecurity, regardless whether it's a 9 to 5 or freelance or whatever, you are on the right track. You're doing something that is aligned with your soul. If you feel like fear is holding you back, watch this next video. You don't actually need to overcome your fears to be free.